and tricks for tracking and measuring. I'm Lori Feldman of the Database Diva, and our company helps ACT users master Swiftpage email and drip marketing to generate more website leads and convert more sales faster. So for those of you who I saw come through on our registration who are our regulars, thank you very much for returning. And I also saw this time a huge number of new people, so welcome to everybody where this is your first time joining us. We do these trainings every other week. We've got them scheduled through about March of next year, so if you like this one, come back and learn some more stuff. Our mission is to help you utilize your email account, your Swiftpage email account, to its fullest capacity to bring you the most new business you can get from email, and also introduce you to drip marketing, which is the next higher level of how to use your subscription. So what we decided to do today is show you the top things that you need to know in order to track your campaigns. Joining me is Todd Vio. He is our Senior Swiftpage ACT Consultant. Todd, say hi.
Hello.
So as we go, if you have questions, stick them in the chat panel, and we'll probably have time at the end. Maybe as we go, we'll see. And also, do me a favor, give us some feedback as we go. If we say something that is particularly striking a chord with something that you were curious about or wanted to know or learn for the first time, give us a big aha in the chat box, and tell us that that's the thing that made it for you coming to training today. All right, Todd, let's do our agenda real quick. So we've got 8 things plus next steps that we're going to cover: monitoring our email campaigns, tracking and scoring, creating call lists, using the ACT Marketing Results tab in ACT, monitoring drip marketing, the difference between Swiftpage email and drip marketing. That's a question that we get asked a lot, and how to do tracking differently in the 2 modules. How to clean up your list when you get bounces, opt-outs, bad addresses. What do you do with them? And when you get those opt-outs, and we hope that that's a small number, how can you handle them strategically? We treat them as sales calls in our office, so we'll tell you a little bit about how we do that. And then we've got some next steps for you as well. So Todd, I'm going to turn it over to you, and let's get going.
All right. So our first tip is not really on our agenda, but our first tip before we get started with the rest of it, if you run into an issue where you're editing a template within Swiftpage and you see the HTML code in the background, so you'll see that over here on the right-hand side, see the HTML code in the background, you may not see the toolbar at the top. There's different variations of this too. It's not always exactly the same. But there is an incompatibility with Chrome or Internet Explorer. So if you see any of this, actually even better, I would just recommend always using Firefox when you're editing anything within Swiftpage. We haven't had any problems with Firefox, so if you use that, that tends to be the best browser for working within Swiftpage. So that's the first tip. Use Firefox, and in order to do that, you do have to set up Firefox as your primary or default browser within your Windows environment. So, because that way when you're in ACT and you click on Swiftpage and you click the edit template, it's going to open up your default browser, whatever that happens to be. So make Firefox your default browser, allow it, Swiftpage to open that up and use it, and that should eliminate all of the issues then with Chrome or Internet Explorer. Okay, so the first one on our agenda was monitoring your campaign metrics. So after you send out an email, you want to be able to monitor how many opens you received, how many click-throughs, all that sort of thing. So within Swiftpage, if you look in your results tab, there is a reports button. If you click the reports button, it will take you to this this page. This is the reports of each campaign or email that you have sent out. So when you click on the reports button, this is what you'll see. On the bottom left-hand side, you're going to see how many opens you've had, how many emails you sent out, how many were unsent, and how many bounced. So I'll show you that here in just a minute, what to do with those. You'll also notice your open rate. Here's your open rate here. We're at 15% for this one. Then you have all your reports over here on the right-hand side. So two of the most frequently asked questions we are asked are, what is the best day and time to send an email, and what's considered a good response rate. So the only way you're going to know any of that is by tracking the results. And there is a few different reports within here that we really like. Oops, I'm sorry. So if we click on the summary reports, one of them that we always check out is the opens over time. So on the opens over time, it shows you from the day you sent the email how many opens you've had over a period of days. So you'll notice that we always get the highest results right at the very beginning. So as soon as we send out that email, the majority of the opens are going to happen at that time. But we can see over a period of days how many opens we've had throughout the entire email. So this is what you're going to use to monitor that, how your emails are performing over the length of days, and this is what you would use to then track which days work the best. So if you get a higher open rates on Wednesdays as opposed to Fridays, you may send out all of your emails on a Wednesday or something like that. So we recommend you track all of this within a spreadsheet. So if you're interested in having that spreadsheet, we actually have a sample spreadsheet. If you're interested in that, you'll put into the questions box asking for that. Lori will send that over to you. So we'll get you a copy of that. But if you have we have a spreadsheet that we track all of our emails, how many were sent, how many were bounced, what our open rate was, and the day that it was sent. So that way we can track when those are going out and what days are working the best for us. So our open rates based on the date that or the day that was going out. We do that with multiple emails, and we start tracking that and seeing what days work the best for us. Everybody's different, so we can't tell you a specific day of the week is going to work best for you. You're going to have to track that for yourself and see how that goes. So the unique open over time report. So let me go back here. Opens over time. That's this report right here. That one is what we use to track how we're doing over a period of time. The social sharing reports. So when you set up your Swiftpage account, you can connect it to different social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. When you send out an email and you have those social media sites connected, it asks you if you want to post to those sites as well. So here is the results of when we posted this particular email to Twitter. It sends just a subject line and a link to the message. That's what it tweets out. And then it tracks how many people click on that tweet and go back and view that particular email. So in this case, we have 17 out of our that have gone through Twitter and clicked on it. We don't use Facebook or LinkedIn as much here. Most of it is through Twitter. That's what this is on the left-hand column. On the right-hand column, this is when somebody receives your email from Swiftpage. There's social sharing buttons on the footer of the email. And if anybody were to click on that, that would post to their Twitter page. And if anybody then clicks on their Twitter page, that'll appear over here on the right-hand side. So we didn't have any on this particular one. Okay, so unique clicks by link. This is one we really like. When you're setting up your email, you're going to want to have multiple links within the email, and you're going to want to track then who's clicking on, or not, how many people are clicking on each link and where it is. So in this particular email, we have 6 different links, it looks like here, and it shows you how many people clicked on each one of those links. And we can even get a detailed report of who it was and when they clicked on it, how many times they clicked on it. So this is the unique clicks by link email, and this will help you then determine where to place links on your templates. So if a link is working really well on the top left-hand side, but not so well on the right-hand side, you want to make sure that your best links are on the left-hand side. So this will help you determine some of that and where to place your links within your templates. Okay.
We had a question from Chatham wants to know, how did you get to this page with all the reports on it?
Okay, so if you go into Swiftpage, so if you click on the Swiftpage icon in ACT, there is a Results tab, and under that Results tab there's a button that says Reports. Click on that, and then you select the campaign or the email blast that you want to click on the reports on and hit View Reports, and it takes you to this page.
And then the other question was how you set up the social links, and let's save that for the end if we have time, or if anyone wants to stay on, and you can log on to your Swiftpage account. We can go over that.
Yeah, just real briefly, if you click on the Swiftpage icon, there's an Accounts button on the window that opens up, and it's in there. So you can go in and set it up in there. Okay, so after the email goes out, we're going to also want to keep track of all of the bounce emails and unsent emails. So we want to be able to flag those within our database so that we don't keep emailing them. Or if they're a bounce, then they're a bad email address, and we want to try to get a corrected email address. So, Laura, you need to mute yourself again.
Yep.
So if you, I'm going to show you that in just a minute. What we do with those emails, the bad emails, we're going to actually want to flag those within our ACT database. So I'll show you that in just a minute. But this is where you go get those from the email. So every time you send out an email, there's a bounce list and unsent list. So unsent are invalid, bad email addresses, meaning they're not formatted properly. Bounce means Swiftpage attempted to send it, but the recipient server did not accept it. So it was a bad email address or something like that, where it was formatted properly, but the server on the other end would not accept it, saying it was not a valid email address. Oh, and these reports are only hosted for 2 months after the email is sent. So make sure that you get the reports within 2 months of the email. Otherwise, it does remove them from Swiftpage's servers. Okay, so tracking and scoring. All right, so within ACT, so now we're in our ACT database. We click on the Swiftpage icon to pull up our Swiftpage window. We want to download the results. So again, this is only stored for 2 months after an email is sent. But what this is going to do is it's going to pull in all of the clicks and opens and download all of that into the history of the ACT contact record. So that way you can look at a contact record, look at their history, see the Swiftpage emails that you've sent out, and see their scores, opens, clicks, all of that within the history. And that gets stored permanently, since that's going to be in your ACT database. It doesn't matter that Swiftpage will remove that from their servers. It'll still be stored in it. So we click on the Results tab within Swiftpage. Here it lists all of our previous emails. So I click the Toggle All button, and that will check all of the checkboxes. So it's going to download the results for all of them. I will also tell you that this could take a while to do. So depending on how many updates you have and the speeds of your computers and internet and all kinds of different things that go into it. But I have seen this take several hours to perform this. So A lot of times what we would do is just start this overnight. As we get ready to leave, we do this and let it run overnight. So that way it's just running in the background. You can still use your computer while it's downloading this, but you would not be able to use ACT while it's downloading this. So I toggle all, check all the checkboxes, and then I hit the submit button. Now it's asking me, are you sure you want to continue? I hit OK, and it starts downloading all of the scores and results. So this is the process that takes a while. When it's complete, it takes me right back to ACT. Now I can go into go back into the results tab of Swiftpage, and I look, and all of the items are gone now. So everything's been downloaded. There's nothing available on their servers to download. If I close out of that, and I go to the history tab of one of my contacts, I can now see all of the emails that I have sent out. So if we're looking at this, we can see here was an email sent out. We have the subject line, so we know which email it was that sent out. In this particular case, it was open once with no clicks, with a score of 10 right here. So one below it was open 19 times with a score of 122 and 1 click. So Swiftpage automatically scores each email that goes out based on the number of opens and clicks. Now, if you see a high number like this, where there's a high number of opens, most likely what that is somebody within their email forwarded it on to one or more people. So each time one of those people would open it, that would be considered an open for the initial, or the person that received it initially. So even though it may be somebody else actually opening it, it's all scored for that first person that received it once they forward it on. So that's probably what you're seeing there. When you see a high number of opens, that means they probably just forwarded it on, and they're getting credit for somebody else actually opening it up. Do we have any questions or?
Yeah, let's see, where did you initially click to download the results to get to the results tab?
Oh, click on the Swiftpage icon. Let me go back here. So the Swiftpage icon within ACT, right here. So it's up on the toolbar in ACT. Or what? Oh, yes, it's also under the right menu. So there's a Swiftpage under there as well. When you click on it, it brings up this window, and now you can get to the results tab. Okay. So the next thing is to create a call list. So what a call list is when a email is sent out, and Swiftpage is scoring all of your contacts. So based on how many times they've opened it, how many times they clicked on it, it creates a score for each of your contacts. A call list is going to be a list of all of those contacts sorted in order of highest score. So you can get that two different ways. You can get a Excel spreadsheet version of that, or it can even be downloaded back into your ACT database, and you can view it within ACT. So, but first thing we need to do is create the call list. So I'm going to go to Swiftpage. So this is just going to Swiftpage website. You can either get to this by clicking on that Swiftpage icon in ACT. I oftentimes will just click Edit Template, whatever template it is on, doesn't really matter, and then exit that template and hit the Home button. So we just want to get to the home page of Swiftpage. That's what this is. So however you get to there, it really doesn't make any difference. But on the home page, there is a call list. If we click on the call list, it will list all of our emails that we recently have sent, and there's a filter up at the top. So up here right now we're set on 1 week, but you can go 1 month, or if you click all available is 2 months. So again, this is only storing the data for 2 months. After that, it removes it from their servers. So we'll see everything that we've had up for the last 2 months. Now, once I have this list of my emails, I can select one or more to include in this call list. So if I want to, if I have sent an email, so for instance, for this class, we sent out 2 or 3 emails for it, we may want to include all of those emails in one call list. So I can select all the emails I want to include in this call list and hit the add button at the bottom to add it to the bottom. So that's what it looks like now. So we've added all 3 of these to our call list, and they're going to all be included. So now I come down and I click the next button, and this window asks me to give it a name. You can either leave it the default name, which if you want, or you can change it and call it whatever you want to call it. It also gives you the ability to adjust the scoring. This is how Swiftpage scores it. For the most part, we found that Swiftpage does a pretty decent job of scoring, so we don't ever really change any of that. And you can adjust what's the hot, medium, or bottom call list, so where they fall in that call list. So again, we found it works pretty well just like it is, so we don't really ever change any of that. All we do is come down, give it a name, call it whatever you want to call it, and then click Generate Call List. So that will generate this call list where, again, you can see our hot contacts are at the top, and they're sorted. Here's our score right here, this column right here. So you can see our scores at the top, and they sorted in score order. This is an actual spreadsheet where it includes the contact information, so you could send this off and have somebody call directly from this, or you can export it out into Excel, or you can download this within the ACT. So if I, oops, do we not have a slide for downloading into that? Oh, did we? Okay, whoops. All right, so what's it? All right, where was that? Oh, it's at the bottom of this page, isn't it? So if you scroll down the bottom of this page, that's where it's kind of cut off here, but it's at the bottom of this page is where you can send the email to yourself and have it sent to you in Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so once we have that call list generated, we also may want to get that within ACT itself. So we can have it send us a spreadsheet of it, or we can have it download that right into our ACT database and have everything all available for us right there. So this all gets downloaded into the Marketing Results tab. So you should have a tab going across the middle of your screen. It says Marketing Results. So here is the Marketing Results tab here. When we click on that, this is actually our Swiftpage account. So it's a tab that's connected to Swiftpage. And there's 3 different columns here. So what we typically do, the way we usually work it is there's these little arrows going down this middle column, and it's telling you what you want to put on either side of it. So we usually put the summary. You kind of see that here. There's an arrow that's pointing over to the left. This is a summary. So it pulls the last history, the last note, the next activity, so we can see generally what's going on with this contact right from this screen without having to flip through all these other tabs. And then the call list, we click and we put that on the right-hand side. There's a drop-down list at the top of the call list tab right here. If we click that drop-down list, we will see the call list that we just created, and we can select it here. So I first arrow, put it on the right-hand side, and then I hit the drop-down list, and I select that call list. So now what it does is it immediately takes us to the first record. So the first record will be the contact that was at the top of the list, the hottest contact with the highest score, and we can see that contact, and it even takes us to that contact within ACT. So if I'm looking at that contact within ACT, it will take me right to that record. And then as I arrow forward, there's little arrows here where you can arrow left and right within this call list. If I arrow forward, it will take me to the next contact. So I will always have the contact that I'm on my call list. That will it'll take me to that contact within ACT. So I can just hit this arrow within the call list, and it takes me from my hottest down, next hottest, next one, so all the way down the line. It takes me down through the whole spreadsheet. And it shows below that how many sends, so how many emails that they received, how many opens they had, combined opens within those emails, and combined clicks within those emails. So that's what it used to generate this score. On the left-hand side, it shows me then my last history, my last note, and my next activity. I can even click on the new button. So if I make a call and I call this contact, I can click on the new button here. It will open up a new activity window and allow me to schedule a callback if I need to. So I don't even have to leave this tab. I don't have to go over the activities tab or anything like that. I see everything right here on the screen in one place for me. And I can just stay on the screen as I'm calling this call list. Okay, so the marketing results tab is where you can see the information for the call list. The call list can be generated from either an email or a drip marketing campaign. So you can do either one. Now they are separate, so you can't combine a drip campaign call list with an email call list. They are kept separate, but you can have a call list from either one of those. So if I go into my drip marketing, so the way I get to this would be I click on the ACT, or within ACT, I click on the Swiftpage icon again, and I go to the drip campaign tab, and I hit Campaign Manager. That takes me to this. It looks like this little window up here at the top. It'll list all of my drip campaigns. So I'm going to find the drip campaign that I want, and I click on the Reports button. So within the reports, there is a View, Open, and Clicks count. So this is the report that we really like within the drip campaign. And when I click on that, this is what the report looks like. It lists all of my contacts that are within the campaign, and it shows which stage. So stages are emails. So which stage they have received and how many times they've opened it and clicked on anything in there. So in this particular case, Stuart has clicked on or opened it 25 times and clicked on one email or one link. So it shows you how many emails or what stage they were on and how many times they opened and clicked on it. So this is for a drip campaign. I see we're getting some questions of what's the difference between an email and a drip campaign. So are you going to explain that later, or do you want me to explain? What's that? Okay, yeah, Lori's going to explain the difference between those two later. So, but essentially, just really simply, a drip campaign is multiple emails that go out to a contact, where an email is just a single individual email. So that's why you can see multiple emails that are going out to a contact and how many times they've opened up each of those particular emails. So Lori will get more detail in just a little bit. Okay, so but the difference between an email and drip marketing reports. So in order for a drip marketing campaign to generate a call list, so I showed you already in the individual email to create a call list for an individual email. For a drip campaign, the only way to create it is if you actually include a stage, a call list stage within that campaign. So this is looking at a drip campaign, and you can see our individual emails that are going out and what days they're going out. So we set up an email. So in this case, it goes out day 1, and then we have it generate a call list the next day. So we always use this a day or two after the email goes out. We have a stage that creates a call list. So we have to give it some time after the email goes out before we want to generate a call list on it. That way it'll give it time to actually receive some results. and then we have it generate the call list, and that call list also gets included within our marketing results tab. The stages are up here on the top left. So here's an email stage, call list stage, and you just add those to your drip campaign and have that separated up by a day or two between the two of them. This is our account, and you'll notice we have some other icons over here. You guys may not have that depending on what version of Swiftpage you have. So we have the platinum version of the drip marketing. If you have the silver version, only two you're going to see are these top two. So, or the gold has a couple more, and then the platinum has all of them. So, if your icons are grayed out, that's the reason why. It depends on your subscription level. So, but most of our clients have the just have the silver level, and they have these two. So you definitely can use get both of those if you have the silver level. Okay. So I'm going to let Lori talk about the drip marketing first, and then I'll get into some of the other differences between the two. So Lori, go ahead.
Okay, so drip marketing and email marketing are two modules within the Swiftpage account. If you have a free trial, you have access to both, up to 50 email sends per module. And we didn't do a poll for this, but if you are on the call right now and you use the drip marketing module, will you go ahead and put something in chat and let me see how many of you there are, so that I don't get too basic for those of you who are already doing this, but I can explain it for everybody who's not familiar with the drip marketing concept. Because next time our training is going to be on the 7 ways to use drip marketing in your business, and it's a free training, and I hope everyone will come to that, because that will give you the real deep dive into exactly what it is. But in a nutshell, in your business, there are going to be things that happen every day. So people are going to give you a referral, they're going to sign up and become a client of yours for the first time, they're going to fill out a web form on your website and request information or download something, and all of these things that happen every day, you know that they're going to happen, but you don't necessarily know who they're going to happen with. And so what drip marketing allows you to do is build a campaign that follows up with all of these people who do these very common business activities with you, but don't make you stop in the middle of your day and go, oh, now I've got to follow up, and I've got to send them a thank you note, and I've got to send them out this follow-up material, and I have to tell somebody in my office that now they need to do this. And so there are, within ACT, there's a couple of ways that you can sort of get a drip campaign going with smart tasks or activity series, but Swiftpage automates the process through email marketing. And so essentially drip marketing is a way to sequentially build a campaign sequentially that goes out over time, that covers pretty much your sales process in terms of what customers and prospects need to know to do business with you, but not in a way that requires you to be involved one-on-one. So it's a way to do a one-to-many campaign based on that person's interest at the time that they're interested. So for example, let's use a website form. Someone fills out a form today, 2 people fill it out tomorrow, 3 people fill it out next week, but the campaign just kind of runs in the background following up with those people at the moment that they fill out that form, not requiring human intervention from you to realize, oh, I just got a new lead off my website, I need to follow up with them. So it's a pretty cool feature of Swiftpage, and there's a lot you can do with it. I'm not doing it any justice kind of talking in snapshot view right now, but if you are interested in learning how to automate your business more using your Swiftpage account, then I would strongly suggest that you sign up for our free training that's coming up, and we'll go into much more detail. But in terms of the functionality of your Swiftpage account, because it's a modular program within Swiftpage, so your email module is one module, your drip marketing is another module, they don't track the information on the results from the campaigns in the same way that they track the results from email blasts going out. So these are some of the key differences, and if you are, okay, so we've got a few people that are saying that they're using Drip. Yep, it's definitely the next level in your marketing, and it's a more advanced tool, but it's a very powerful tool, and automating a lot of your follow-up in your business can bring in lots of, I call it like Christmas every day, because people respond over time. Let's say you have a 9-month drip, and so 8 months from now somebody's sending you an email going, oh yes, I'm very interested in that, and you've already forgotten that you sent that out in your campaign when you set it up 8 months ago. So it's pretty cool, and you have a bunch of those going, and you're getting responses every day coming in from people that you didn't do anything directly to stimulate that traffic. It's a pretty neat feeling to be on the receiving end of that. So in terms of using the Drip Marketing module, email call lists can be used or can be created on demand like Todd just showed you. Drip Marketing call lists have to be added as a Drip stage, which he just showed you that. And there is within the call list screen a report called, it's kind of a default report called last 14 days. And it tallies up all the responses from all the emails that you might do, but it does not include Drip Marketing in that. So a lot of people think, oh, I'll just go there and get a report that has everything. No, there is no report in Swiftpage that has everything, because it is 2 separate modules. So that's just kind of a top level view. At the end of, actually no, I don't have a link for it, but in our follow-up email that you're going to get tomorrow with the recording from today and some of the resources that we talked about, there will also be a link for you to sign up for the free class. So Todd, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. So next thing is list cleanup. So we talked about earlier in our results getting the bounces, the unsents. There's also one other section, the opt-outs. So we want to be able to pull all of that information from Swiftpage, download it, and update our ACT database so that we have the ability to clean that up. It's flagged in ACT, so we can call and see if we can get that cleaned up. Actually, we also want to make sure that we don't include them in any of our new emails unless we have them already cleaned up. So we want to suppress them from future emails. So the way we do that, there is a free add-on from exponential.com. So we have the website here at the top. And actually, I'll show you here. If you go to this link right here, and this will be included in your resources you receive tomorrow. If you go to this link right here, it will take you to this website, and within this website, there's a download button. You download that, install that on, you'll have to install on each machine that you want to do this from, but download and install that, and then when you open up ACT again the next time, you'll have a new icon on your toolbar, and I'll show you that in just a minute, but it'll have the this little window pops up for us to do an email address lookup. So what you want to do is you want to go to your reports, click on the unsent report. We want unsent, we want bounced, and then we want suppressions. Those are the 3 emails that we want to include. But we're going to download those, have them send it to us in Excel, download those, and then we have a field within ACT. So in our ACT database, we actually created a custom field for our opt-outs so that we can flag them within that custom field. And we flag what type they are as well. So whether they're unsent or bounced, we put that into that field as well. So either you're going to need to create a field for that, or if you don't have a field and don't know how to create a custom field, you can use one of the default fields. You can probably just use ID status for that value as well. So, but we're going to download that report, copy the emails, paste them into this email lookup, and then update that field. I'll show you how to do that in just a second here. So the first thing is we go to our reports, we click on our bounced and unsent. That takes us to this window where we can download those. The suppression data that is the opt-outs. So you can see up here at the top, we're on the Reports tab, and up at the top is the suppression data. If we click on that, it asks us for our account password and allows us to email that list to us. So this is the third report that we want. So we want the balanced unsent, and we want the suppression data. This is the opt-outs. All of those will be sent to us in Excel. It'll be emailed to us in Excel. Open up the Excel spreadsheet and highlight all of the email addresses. So I just start at the top, highlight them all the way down until I get the entire column highlighted. And then I just copy that, go to ACT, and here's our new little icon within ACT that after we've installed the plugin, it adds that little icon in ACT. We click on that and paste the email addresses into the window here. All you do is right-click paste or Control-V, paste it, paste those email addresses in, and hit the Create Lookup button. That will now do a lookup of all of those contacts that have those email addresses. So it goes through each one of the email addresses and creates a lookup of all of those. So very easy to do. Then once we have that, we now need to update our field. So if you've created an opt-out field, we're going to update that. Otherwise, you can probably just use ID status. Do keep in mind, though, when we do this update, it's going to wipe out any data or any values that are already existing in that field. So if you are going to update ID status and you have something already in there, it's going to delete that out and put this data in here. So you may not want to use it if you're using that for something else. You may want to find a different field. So but have a field ready. We're going to click the Edit button, Edit menu at the top, and then Replace Field. So Replace Field down towards the bottom. Pops up this little window and asks us what field do we want to replace. So we select our, in this case, this is our database, so we selected the opt-in field. And then we hit the drop-down list here and select the Do Not Email. You could also, if this were bounced, you could put bounced, or you could put invalid, whatever terminology you want. If you want to track which list they came from, you could put that information in there. It doesn't make any difference. So we hit OK, and it goes through, and it's going to update each record in the current lookup with this new value for this field. So that just does every record in the current lookup. So, so that gives you a couple things that you're going to do with that. You're going to want to in your marketing group. So hopefully you either have a group or whichever contacts, or however you determine which contacts you're going to send an email to. This needs to be one of the criteria in that, so that opt-in does not equal do not email. So we actually have groups set up within ACT, and that is our marketing groups, dynamic groups. Yep, we have dynamic groups set up within ACT. So the part of the criteria, or one of the criteria in that group, is opt-in does not contain do not email. So you want to make sure you suppress these from any future emails before you send those out. So once you get your list, your lookup within ACT, then this should be a suppression for that lookup. Okay, and actually in ours, since we do have a field strictly for the opt-ins or opt-outs and invalids, we just set ours so that the criteria is opt-in does not contain data. So opt-in has to be blank for it to be included. So if it has, whether it has invalid or bounced or do not email, it doesn't make any difference. If it has any value in there, it's going to suppress it. Okay, so I'm going to turn this one back over to Lori. She's going to talk to you about what to do with those opt-outs.
Okay, great. Yep, we just had a question come over too. Brenda wanted to know, does ACT automatically recognize people who have opted out and will not send to them again, or do we have to manually flag them like the report you're running now that Todd just showed? Okay, so go ahead and click forward, Todd. Yes, Swiftpage will flag them for you in so much as it'll suppress anybody who has opted out from future sends. So you don't have to worry about you know, violating canned spam, or if you're in Canada, the new Castle regulation, it will flag them. However, I like to maintain control of my own database despite what Swiftpage is doing, because we treat opt-outs as sales opportunities. So if somebody, and because you're not going to get that many, hopefully you're not going to get that many. If you're getting a lot, that's a problem with your content in most cases. You're not being interesting and relevant enough. So, or what? Or lists. Could be a problem with your list, yes. So you want to make sure that you've got those working properly. But if you're doing a good job on that and you're getting a few opt-outs here and there, that's normal. But we, or I should say Todd probably doesn't care, but I take it very personally when people opt out of my emails, because I try very hard to do all the stuff that you're supposed to do that we teach in our classes that we're teaching you. So when somebody opts out, it's very sad. So we came up with this note, and you don't have to copy it down if you don't want to, because it's going to be one of the ones that we give you, and it's an ACT document template. We will post it on the website for you to download, and you can put it into ACT and use it. You can't send it out through Swiftpage anymore, but you can still send it through Gmail or Outlook. And we kind of just say, yep, we're taking you off our list, no problem, but kind of exit interview style. What was it that made you want to opt out? And surprisingly, we get about 50% of the people that we send this to who reply. And in some of the cases, not often, but some of the cases, people are they made a mistake, they clicked on the wrong button and they opted themselves out, and they're like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that, put me back in. So you can just forward that email to support@Swiftpage, and they'll add that person back into your list. And sometimes they're like, well, I'm not in that job anymore, so I don't care about what you're doing, I liked it, but I don't need it. So then you have an opportunity to follow up and find out who took their place. And sometimes if they're just unhappy, or maybe they moved on, they're using a competitor now, they'll tell you that, so that's good market feedback to get to keep up with, like we say, where the market is going. So it's just really helpful to know why people are opting out so that you can adjust your business accordingly. So it's a really good last step, and the way that Todd just showed you to keep track of your opt-outs, you can funnel those through a dynamic group and ACT into their own little group, so that somebody in your office who is tasked with keeping the list updated, hopefully you have somebody like that, can just make those calls and or update the database, send those last-minute notices out. The other ones that you're going to want to monitor this way are bounces. I wouldn't necessarily send this letter to the bounces, but Swiftpage makes a delineation between a bounce that might have been because a server was busy, either yours or theirs, versus somebody who they consider a hard bounce, where they've tried 3 times to deliver to the email address on your record and or on that person's record, and it won't go through. So they're saying, we're not going to clog up our system anymore with bad email address, so you have to code this person as a bounce and go find the new one. So those people, that is going to be a bigger list. That's going to be a much bigger list, because a lot of times people will, let's say they come to your website and they fill out a form and they transpose the letters in their email address. That happens a lot. So sometimes you can eyeball those and see there's like a typo, and you can fix it and then go back into the database and go out the next time. Sometimes you may need to get on the phone and find out, what is your real address? This bounced. Is there another email address we should be using? So it's a really good idea to keep track in your database of those kinds of things, even though it's a pain in the neck and it does add extra time. It is worth it, because in business, what you're really doing is trying to build your list of interested prospects and customers, and every time you lose one, it's like 2 steps backwards for the work that you've put in. So it's worth it to try to get every piece of mileage that you can out of a list that may look like it's going bad. So opt-outs, bounces, and then Swiftpage also gives you what they call, what's the other one? I can't think of what they call it. Inactive, or? No. Okay. Within the bounced, duplicates. Duplicates is the other one. So that will help you flag duplicates. The email address lookup will also help you flag duplicates within ACT. It won't necessarily correct them. You still have to correct them. However, it'll find them, and it will also find incidences where, in a lot of cases in our database, more than one person is using the sales at XYZ company. And so, if that's the only email that they have, then that's the only email that they have. You're going to have duplicates. But sometimes it's just, somebody signed up one time with one address, signed up with another address another time, and now you can, well, that's not really a duplicate. You just got two people with the same name, with the same email address. You can combine those records, make one out of it. Just another way to help clean up your database. Okay, Todd, next. I think we're back to you then, aren't we? Oh, still me. Okay. So here's our next training, the free one that we're talking about. I put the link in the chat box, but you'll also get a copy of it tomorrow, so don't worry about clicking on it right now. 7 ways to use drip marketing in your business. Very, very powerful, very enlightening, very good information to have if you are sold on this thing of email marketing for your business. It's like email on steroids, so definitely try to make it if you can. We'll send the link to you tomorrow, and you can sign up. And Todd, last page. I think we're going to take some questions in a minute. Oh, did we miss my special offer? Was there one before this? Oh, okay. Thank you. We do have a special offer for you. If you are interested in help with your Swiftpage campaigns, this is like our tech support plan for Swiftpage. So some of you are familiar with business care and just tech support if you're working with an ad consultant already. So this is our version of Swiftpage help. It's 12 months of help for your fee. We're going to throw in these bi-weekly Swiftpage trainings that we're doing. So if you've been coming and you've been paying the $35 every other week, this could be a $700 value if you attended all of them. So we'll throw those in for free if you're on our coaching help plan. But the plan does include unlimited calls and emails to help you with, there's like lots of little tweaky things with Swiftpage that you can spend hours trying to figure out, and if someone shows you who knows what they're doing, you can be done in like five minutes. So it's really a good service for that. Plus, we have been, we're probably the most heavy-duty Swiftpage users in their network, so we know where all of the little gotchas are, and this is very helpful for just saving time and putting templates together, doing some of the tracking things that we talked about today. We can help you walk through those very quickly. We'll give you 20 minutes per call. If it needs to be something that's longer than that, or you need our help to implement something or set up something or edit something, then we'll give you a 30% discount to do the next more heavy-duty intervention with you, and it does include help with both the email and the drip marketing module. So it's $350 for the year, which is less than $30 a month. It's a great value, and don't go to this page yet because I was going to add one more thing to it, but probably within the hour after the call that page will be up, and if you're interested you can go there, and we would love to have you as our new support client. And Todd, next I think we're going to go to questions, and we do have a number of them. So Todd, I'm going to ask you, and then I'll mute myself. So, this is a really good one. Can you compare Aweber to Swiftpage? Swiftpage doesn't have an autoresponder, right? Wrong. So Todd, you want to talk about that?
Sure. So there is a couple things with Aweber. Aweber is essentially an email service, so it will do an email out, but it also has forms where you can create forms that go on your website. Swiftpage has those as well. Swiftpage calls them surveys, but essentially it's the same thing. So you can either have Swiftpage host those for you, and when you click on so if you put on your website, contact us, for instance, that would actually, when somebody clicks on that, switches them over to Swiftpage, and Swiftpage can host that form for you. And then within those forms, they do have autoresponders, so you can send an email. An autoresponder is an email that is sent back immediately when somebody submits a form on your site. And so Swiftpage does have that capability. Swiftpage can also start them on a drip campaign, and the results of that can be downloaded back into your Act database. So anybody that fills out a form can be downloaded. But the form can be either hosted by Swiftpage, or you can put it on your own website too. So it could be hosted on yours as well, embedded within your site.
Okay, next question. Let me find. Okay, for the call list and act, this is Randy's question. Is there any way for the call list to schedule a call under a contact for, let's say, a certain salesperson? So I guess, can you assign a call follow-up to a salesperson, a different salesperson than maybe the one that sent out the email? So let me take a shot at that one, Todd.
Yeah, I think there is that option, but
there is that option. You have to have everybody who is a salesperson who's going to do follow-ups and be assigned follow-up calls set up as a Swiftpage user. So you can't randomly do it. I guess you could export the call list and then manually go through it to assign different salespeople and then split up the Excel spreadsheet and send it out that way. That would take a little bit more work, but if everybody was set up as a user in the Swiftpage account, then there is a way to go in on the call list and assign, I think it's the very last column of the call list. There's a way to assign that to a salesperson as long as they need to be an ACT user and a Swiftpage user. Okay. Here's Christina saying, in Constant Contact, I can add, my list is jumping around. Sorry, hold on one second. I can add a link to my website that someone can click to be added to our mailing list. Can I do this with Swiftpage? Todd?
Yeah, you would have to use a Swiftpage form. So or a survey, what Swiftpage calls them. But yes, you could set up a field within ACT that would be a newsletter opt-in field, and then create a form on your website. It could be just a checkbox. So they checkbox that form, put in their email address, or actually, I guess you need both. So yeah, well, you could get right away without it too. So you could just put in the email address. So have them put in their email address, and you'd have a hidden field that would be a checkbox for that newsletter form. But then they'd submit the email, that would go to Swiftpage, and then you download the results back into your ACT database, which would put in their email address and checkbox that newsletter form or field. If the email address already exists in ACT, it does just update the contact record. So when the results from a form are downloaded, it does everything based on email address. So if an email address already exists, it just updates that record within ACT.
This is a good time to point out, though, if you are using something other than Swiftpage for your email service, Aweber or Constant Contact or MailChimp or any of the other ones that are out there, they all cost about the same thing, but the big difference is Swiftpage is the only one, if you're an ACT user, that integrates with ACT. So just that integration to be able to send out an email and have the results tie back to the contact in your ACT database is huge over time, because with a Constant Contact or Aweber, when you send individual emails out there, you're going to get individual email reports. You're never going to get that 360-degree view, and I do mean 360-degree view all the way around of what that person has done over the time frame of your campaigns. Whereas if you're loading all those results back into ACT and you go to the ACT history, when a salesperson, let's say, is making a call back to John Smith, and he goes into John Smith's history and he can see from the last year, oh, every time we talked about, this kind of widget, John clicked my links, but every time I talked about this kind of a product, he wasn't interested. So now I know what to talk about. It's enormously helpful from a sales standpoint and a follow-up standpoint to know what the interest is of the person who you're sending to over time, because different things are going to, trip their triggers differently. And when you have all the reports kind of out in the cloud separately, it's harder to get a handle on that. So I would strongly suggest, if you are using another program for email besides Swiftpage and you're an ACT user, you might want to try a trial account just to get familiar with how that integration works, and it really will change the way you think about your email marketing. That's probably the best benefit of the Swiftpage account. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I was told the Constant Contact interfaces with ACT, not so. It allows a one-way import from ACT to Constant Contact, but it doesn't allow you the two-way import, which you would need to go from the cloud back into ACT. And that's the full integration that I'm talking about. So good point. Thank you for having me clarify that. Okay. I'm not sure that Carolyn says, I'm not sure I understand the purpose of the call list. And the purpose of the call list is a place where you have one report that is consolidated with all of the recipients' behaviors from the email that you sent them. So for example, it consolidates how many times they opened it, which links and how many times they clicked on links, whether they forwarded it to somebody else. I think those are the main things. And it will build a score based on who is being most active or who has interacted with that email the most and who has the highest score. And the call list will prioritize and top priority down for you to have some way of following up. So let's say that you send out an email of 3,000 people and you want your salespeople to follow up. Rather than just having to call 3,000 people or randomly choosing who to call back, your call list will tell you, well, here are the top, it'll give you all 3,000, but you can say, here are the top 100 people that I should be following up with because they've had the most interaction with the email that I've sent out. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, it's after 1. Feel free to drop off. We'll stay on just a little bit if you need to. Since we promised you 60 minutes, but we'll stay on and answer a few more questions, and then any questions we don't get to, we'll also send out with the recording tomorrow. So I did want to go back up. There was a question early on from Carolyn, what is a good response rate? And I did want to address that because that is a question that we get asked a lot. And just as a total average, because I've had emails that I've sent out that have gotten 100% response, and that was when I was sending like maybe 5 people very specifically after a specific event. So, you know, no, I've never gotten 100% on everybody that I've ever sent to. But so I'm just saying that this is very rough estimates of what a good response rate is. So open rates anywhere from 15% on up is very good. Click-through rates are going to be like direct mail rates used to be. 1 to 3% is very, very good. If you get more than that, congratulations, that's excellent. Forwards, if you get 1, 2, 3, anything is wonderful. So those are some standard metrics that you can use as benchmarks and try to do better than that. Opt-out rates you want to keep low, obviously. Under 1%, under a fraction of 1%, really. Every time you email, you should never have more than like 0.1% of people opting out, unless it's the very first time that you're sending out email after a very, very long time. So I think that's it. If you have any other specific questions, let me know. Okay, so Todd, do you see any questions that look like?
There was a couple. One was asking about recording. So if they'll get the recording. Yeah, and that you answer that is you'll get it tomorrow. So another one was, do you offer a more basic training class? Do you want to answer that one?
Yep, we do have a basic training class. We have a private training class, 2 hours, $350. We remote into your desktop. We work off of your database and off of your Swiftpage account. Get it up, get it out. That's a private one. We do a group training like this. We just got done doing some, and we do recycle them. So my recommendation would be to go to our events page, and you can see what's coming up. And if there's we are going to have one in October, I don't remember what the date is, on preparing your list for the holidays. So sending out Christmas cards and presents to top customers and things like that. And that would be a pretty basic one that would be a good one to attend. But you can go to our, Todd, will you type in our URL for the events page? And you'll get that on the recording tomorrow as well. Okay, there were a couple of other call list questions that I wanted to see if we could cover. Swiftpage templates. A question on Swiftpage templates. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the pre-done templates that Swiftpage has, but they are pretty good if you're going to copy and modify them. So my suggestion would be that you find one that that's acceptable. You can change the colors, you can change the font, you can add your own pictures and headers and banners, and I would do it that way. Otherwise, for about $75, you can have a custom template made from a lot of different sources, possibly even $5 from Fiverr.com. Todd put that URL on there as well, and we'll send that out tomorrow. That's our favorite site for graphics. So you shouldn't have to suffer through a template that you don't like just because you're using Swiftpage, but we found early on that we didn't like any of them enough that we went ahead and had one of each made for our needs, so for our webinars, for our newsletter, and I think just a one-off for special promotions, and got them done out of the way, and now we just copy, update them each time, and it was well worth the investment. So that would be my suggestion. Let's see. I think that.
So here somebody is asking about their drip marketing. It says the Swiftpage user is not authorized to use drip marketing.
Oh yeah, that was what I was looking for.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Oop. Are you going to answer that, or you want me to?
Go ahead.
Okay. If you are interested in drip marketing and you go to your account and you see that you're not authorized to use it, then you need to go to your account settings, and if you're already on a paid account, the drip module is a one-to-one with the email module, meaning if you have 3,000 available on your email account to send, you need to have a drip marketing account set up for 3,000 as well. It has to match, and the number of users can be different. You don't have to have everybody on a drip unless you want to do a send as a salesperson or have the salesperson be able to follow up on their own leads. Then you would need to add that person as a user. Otherwise, you can have one person who does everything and just have one activated Swiftpage user. So if it's grayed out, that means that person does not have access, and you'll have to update your account. All right, that's it. That's all the questions we can take for now. If there were any that we missed, we'll put those in the follow-up. You guys were great participating today. Sorry if we went over some people's heads. This is one of our advanced ones, but the basic ones are really good as well. Check out our other events to see when we're going to have both. We try to do both. We try to have some that are advanced for people who have been using Swiftpage for a while and are very good at it, and we also have like to have basic ones for people who are just getting started. So it's all good. That's why we do the recording. You can always refer back to it later after you're smarter if you're just getting started with this and this was a little bit too advanced for you. But put it in your collection, and we promise that there'll be more coming up that will be very helpful. So thank you, everybody, for coming today, and stay tuned tomorrow for your recording and resources.